If you're watching this video presentation, you're probably teaching class this Sunday. Either that or you just want a little preview of what the sermon's going to be in order to plant the seeds of thought and to then come to church on Sunday and then have them nurtured. What's happening this Sunday is my colleague Kirby King, who is also a member here at Souderton, the two of us will be up in the pulpit with a two-part assignment. The first part of the assignment is to continue our church's year-long study of the Gospel of Mark. But then also, within that section of Mark, we're also looking at a way to introduce the theme of the Sunday school classes that will take place in October and in November. These classes are optional for anybody in the congregation who wants to participate, want to get some youth, and then on up to the adults as well. And Kirby and I will then lead these studies, and that'll be a time to talk about some of the points that we raise. Kirby and I plan to do it this way. He will speak first, and he's going to address the question of what is this thing that we call the gospel? What are the components of the gospel? We talk about the gospel constantly, and we talk about taking the gospel into all the world, as Jesus commissioned us to do. But do we really know what it is that we're taking into the world? Kirby will be addressing that. If you're teaching the lesson, my suggestion is take notes and listen carefully for what he lists as some of the primary components of what we call the gospel. I will then pick up and address the second part. Why is this gospel considered, why can we consider this gospel offensive? What is meant by that? Then I will do basically the same kind of thing. I will take the points that Kirby made and show what makes taking the gospel a challenge, and in many cases offensive. But then also listen, for I'm going to give a little turn on the word offensive in use of the gospel. So again, for leading the discussion, take some notes, some points on what I say makes this gospel offensive. When you're teaching your Sunday school class, if you want specific questions to ask, Kirby and I would recommend that we bracketed these questions. Again, ask this question. What are some examples of the good news found in the gospel? In what ways might the gospel, as described, be offensive? Then this part is where I'm going to try to make it clear, dealing with the context that we take this gospel into. How would you describe the Souderton community that we live in? The town itself, and then the church. In other words, when Chestnut meets Weil, what happens? Can those two cultures coexist? And then address the question, what is it that keeps us from sharing the gospel? Additional preparation we strongly recommend would be reading the scripture, which is Mark chapter 6, 30 to the end of the chapter, where Jesus tells the story of feeding the 5,000. That is symbolic of taking what we have and using it. I would also strongly recommend you pick up a copy of the church's devotional guide and read Tim Weaver's excellent reflection on that particular story. As we said before, this is just a kickoff. A time to discuss will come later. Wish you God's blessing as you carry out this important work.